That'll be there when the world is at its where nobody
Gallagher was born in Burnage, Manchester in 1972 to Irish parents Thomas and Peggy Gallagher. Liam, the youngest of three, had two older brothers Noel and Paul. Having suffered abuse at the hands of their father, both Liam and Noel went on to have troubled teenage years. Although Liam displayed little interest in music early on, in his late teens he began listening to the Beatles, The Who, the Stone Roses and the Kinks. It was at this time that his lifelong admiration for John Lennon developed. Gallagher joined his school friend Paul McGuigan's band The Rain as the lead singer, along with guitarist Paul Arthurs. Meanwhile, Liam's brother Noel had been touring the US with Inspiral Carpets as their roadie, and upon his return, he guided Liam's fledgling band toward a more successful future. Featuring Noel as chief guitarist and songwriter, the newly renamed Oasis went on to secure a record deal and make their debut album Definitely Maybe in 1994. Upon its release, it became the fastest-selling debut album in Britain to date. As the band's music began to make headlines, so did Liam, as the tabloid press speculated about his drug use and volatile behavior, which included seemingly endless spats with his brother. Just a year later, the band released What's the Story Morning Glory, which eclipsed their debut's staggering popularity. That same year Oasis went head-to-head with fellow Brit poppers Blur when both bands released singles on the same day. Blur emerged victorious with Country House while Oasis Roll With It languished in second place. The chart war, along with the tabloid press, fueled the rivalry between the groups, pitching them as opposing forces within the Brit pop scene. Working-class Northerners Oasis versus middle-class Southerners Blur. All the while, Liam continued to dominate the press on his own, which included an assault charge while on tour in Australia. Oasis' fourth record, 2000 Standing on the Shoulder of Giants, would feature Gallagher's songwriting debut. Little James was an ode to his then-wife Patsy Kensett's son with Simple Minds frontman Jim Kerr. It was a trend that would continue, as over the band's final three albums 2002's Heathen Chemistry, 2005's Don't Believe the Truth and 2008's Dig Out Your Soul, Gallagher emerged from his brother's songwriting shadow to contribute more of his own compositions, like Songbird and I'm Outta Time. Along with an increased input to the band's records, Liam continued to make headlines with his extracurricular activities, including a 2002 fight in a Munich bar that left him with several broken teeth. Relations between Liam and Noel continued to be fractious, and in 2008 they reached a nadir that resulted in Noel leaving the band. The following year, Gallagher announced he had formed a new group with former members of Oasis. He also launched his own clothing brand, Pretty Green, named after a track by The Jam, and featuring the by then classic Gallagher getup of parkas and desert boots. By 2010 the brand had its own flagship store on London's celebrated Carnaby Street. In 2011 BDI's debut record, Different Gear Still Speeding was released. The band headlined a Japan tsunami relief concert at London's Brixton Academy, and also supported the Stone Roses in 2012. BDI presented their second record B in 2013 and toured in support of the album, but by 2014 Gallagher had announced via Twitter that the group had disbanded. In the interim, he very publicly pursued the ongoing feud with his brother by trashing Noel's High Flying Birds project, making an Oasis reunion ever more unlikely. Having previously dismissed any suggestion of a solo career via his Twitter account, Gallagher made a U-turn in 2016 and announced he would in fact be releasing a solo record. Wall of Glass, the first single from the album, arrived in May 2017. Following the terrorist bombing at an Ariana Grande concert in Manchester, the singer organized a benefit concert at Old Trafford Cricket Ground and Gallagher made a surprise appearance, playing Oasis classics Live Forever and Rock and Roll Star alongside Coldplay's Chris Martin and Johnny Buckland. Gallagher continued an intensive promotional campaign leading up to the October release of his first solo full-length As You Were. The album debuted at number 1 in the UK and hit the top 30 on the Billboard 200. In June 2019, Gallagher returned with Shockwave, the first single off his sophomore follow-up Why Me Why Not, which was released that September. 3 other singles Once, One of Us, and Now That I've Found You were pulled from the album, and during its promotional tour, Gallagher recorded an MTV Unplugged which wound up getting released in June 2020. That November he issued All You're Dreaming Of, a Lennon-inspired, piano-driven ballad as a standalone single. It became the biggest-selling vinyl single of the year in the UK, with all profits going to the charity Action for Children. For much of 2021, Gallagher stepped away from public view, only rearing his head on an October duet with Richard Ashcroft, a reworked take on the former Verve frontman's solo track, Come On People We're Making It Now. However, in February 2022, he returned with Everything's Electric, co-written with Dave Grohl and Greg Kurstin. The Foo Fighters frontman also drummed on the track, which reached the UK Top 20, becoming Gallagher's highest-charting single to date. It was the first material to be issued from his third studio LP, Come On You Know, which appeared that year alongside Down by the River Thames, a December 2020 live set recorded on a London barge. Featuring contributions by Vampire Weekend's Ezra Koenig, Ariel Rechtshaid and Andrew Wyatt, Come On You Know debuted at the top of the British charts upon its release.
And all the roads we have to walk are winding.